Hello everybody and welcome to Timeless or Trash, the show where we decide is a film truly as good as we remember or is it actually just a bit crap.
You're garbage.
I'm your host this week, Ben. Joining me as always,
Dan.
James.
And Christian.
And with the release of Matt Reeves' new film, The Batman, we are taking a look, we're going all the way back to 1989 and watching just simply Batman. Tim Burton, Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson. You can't really go wrong, can you guys?
Well, we'll see.
I have seen this film countless times throughout my childhood. This is the big one. This is Jingle All the Way, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Use. This is high. This is big stuff. Very excited. If it's crap, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Do I look like I'm joking?
What are your thoughts on this film, your memories? What about you, Dan? You were alive when this came out, no?
Yeah, I think so. When was it released?
89.
Oh, you mentioned that already. Okay. It's a good one for Timeless or Trash for me personally, this one, because I have seen this film, but not for a very, very, very long time. So effectively, it's almost like I am seeing it again for the first time.
Because you've just forgotten everything.
I've forgotten it all.
Because your memory's shit.
But obviously, like, I've soaked in a lot by, osmosis over the years. I've seen most of the memorable scenes, I guess. Maybe. I'm aware of Jack Nicholson's arguably best performance of Joker of the lot.
You've not watched Suicide Squad.
Good point. Good point.
Honka honka!
I'm also aware that this has a very interesting aesthetic as well, which hasn't been repeated again in any preceding Batman film. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to watching it.
I have seen this film before. I've definitely seen it before. Not for a while. Don't really remember it. I do remember enjoying it though. So again, like Dan, probably there's going to be a few bits of this film where I'm like, I completely forgot that happened. I'm aware of everything that's been memed. I'm aware of the like cultural significance and all that sort of stuff.
James, what about you?
Yeah.
All right then. So.
No, this is one like completely different to you, Ben. I never watched this as a kid. I was quite late to this film. Bale was my first Batman. And then afterwards, when people said how good these were, I was like, oh yeah, I'll go give the old ones a go. And I remember enjoying it. It's pretty good. I don't have that like childhood enjoyment from it, but I remember even when I did watch it, I was like, yeah, this is good. This is solid. I do wonder now, like what? Like almost 25 years on? 45 years on even. I wonder, is it going to have aged that well?
45.
James,
35.
what?
It's like 34 years on.
How old do you think I am?
Just wondered, like this, like so many years later on, how does it work anymore? Do we still enjoy it with where we are at so much with super films now? Does something like this still work? I hope it does, but I don't know.
I wonder if this one will be a bit kind of clunky and some aspects will be refined in Batman Returns, which maybe we'll get to one day. Who knows? And with that, guys, shall we give this film a watch, see if it's any good?
Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's get nuts.
Where's the trigger? Where is it?
Okay guys, so that was Batman 1989. We've watched the film and now we're ready to chat about it. Instant thoughts, did we all enjoy it? Did we kind of find it middling? Did we find it bad? I enjoyed it.
It's okay. Like it's not as good as I thought it was gonna be, if I'm honest. It's not as good as I remember it being. But it's by no means bad. But it's just a bit of alright.
I don't think it's perfect. I did really enjoy it. There's just like some real absolute classic moments, and there's just some like stuff in like genuinely classic moments, and there's stuff in there that I just like really enjoy just personally. And there's this like it kind of like it's not really a plot. it just kind of happens. It's just a bit of like Joker scheming about, and Batman's like kind of getting round to it, and he's like, oh, I'll stop him at some point, and a little bit of this, a bit of that.
Hands down, all the best stuff in this film is Jack Nicholson's Joker.
Literally doesn't want to destroy Gotham, doesn't want to do anything super grand. He just, he just wants to make some art, some morbid art, but art.
Joker is the protagonist of the film because
He is.
Yeah.
He weirdly
Burton
is.
had found his way in. He found it through the Joker, and that's who he connects with. He has the tragic fall from grace kind of arc. It's the Joker is the protagonist of the story. It's like the bit where he explains he's an artist. I was like, it's so Burton. It's just him.
He's literally just a prankster, almost.
He's just fun. He's just having an absolute laugh.
He's just like, I'm going to cause the absolute most chaos I can in any way that I can.
Oh, the Joker's just got so many good lines peppered throughout this film.
Wait till they get a load of me. You are my number one guy. This town needs an enema. I'm of a mind to make some mookie. Phone book. Big Dukaroo. You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? Never rub another man's rhubarb.
My balloons. Those are my balloons.
He stole my balloons!
It's crazy looking back how it's quite a bit just the 60s show. Just
little
kind
bit,
of with
yeah.
the lights turned off a little bit and taken a bit more seriously. There's lots of like Joker branding, and he's got like the classic acid flower, and he's got the cars and all this, and the big boxing gloves.
That whole infomercial scene is just incredible. It's so Joker.
It's such a bizarre combination because it has the sort of dark, sort of Burton style, like, you know, you pointed out when they're driving back to the Batcave, there's like the trees are all twisted, and it is very dark like you would expect from Burton, but it's also sort of super campy like the 60s show. It has the sort of like over-the-top Joker moments, the gadgets, like the moment where he pulls the long gun out of his trousers is just absolutely fantastic. And when Batman punches him in the face and he turns around and drops the chattering teeth, it's all like classic Joker. Burton's just created this weird sort of like dark yet camp world that sort of flip-flops between the two. It goes from sort of like Danny Elfman's like booming score to then like a super over-the-top Prince dance number almost.
Yeah. Is it maybe a little bit confused in its tone? Because, yeah, it does go from one extreme to the other. It goes from camp to like super cool looking gothic stuff. Like, I wasn't really sure what to expect from this film, and I did enjoy it, but I echo all your guys' comments, really. Like, it was a pretty mediocre in terms of plot. There wasn't much going on there, really, like in terms of story, which is kind of fine. You don't really need it that much when a film is being carried by like the performances that we've got, when you've got someone like Jack Nicholson in the role of the Joker, who's just having a massive laugh throughout this entire film, completely hamming it up, completely over the top. But I do wonder, you know, if someone else was cast in that role, would this film have worked as well? Would it have been as memorable? You know, Michael Keaton, obviously pretty good as Batman as well. One thing I did notice about this film is that there wasn't much Batman in it for quite a while.
Yeah.
And it took a while to get going. I think it was like we were well over an hour in until we saw Batman in a proper kind of action scene. I think it was the museum scene, right? And then even then we didn't really see much of him. He kind of escapes the museum, then there's a short chase, and it seems like every fight that he gets into, he gets shot. It's like the first time we see him, he gets shot.
I'm Batman.
One of the opening establishing shots of Gotham, so cool. And honestly, I don't really like, there is so much going on there. There's like film noir, there's like gothic stuff, there's all sorts of different influences going on in like the design of the city and the look, the general look of some of the shots. Like there's Dutch angles going on, it's trying comic booky stuff, it's trying all sorts, and there's nothing really that looks like it, and there's not really been a Gotham since. You know, compare this to Nolan.
It really bothers me, man. There's more
Yeah.
to Batman, and it's about the world, not just the character. These later films like totally abandon it, man. I love that this film, it's an ill-defined era. The detectives are dressed in like trilbies and big hats, but then it's like, it looks a little bit like 1940s, but there's phones and television. And like, I just love that kind of like, it doesn't really exist anywhere. It's Gotham, it's its own thing, and yet all that, the smoke and the big like, outside the mob boss that gets killed, outside his office, there's like a giant like Greek head that like the Joel Schumacher ones, whether you like it or not, kind of takes that tenfold. There's huge like Greek statues of men in Gotham. Like I love this otherworldly aspect of it all.
It's like 20s and 30s kind of architecture, like the Art Deco, I think it's called, but mixed with like Tim Burton's Gothic kind of influence as well. Like it just creates this like really odd
It's
look.
almost like Tim Burton has like pulled the aesthetic of what Gotham looks like as a city from like sort of classic films like Metropolis.
Yeah.
It's, like all the buildings are like weirdly skinny and tall, and there's lots of like statue and weird architecture everywhere. It's like a very bizarre, like when the Joker looks up at the cathedral at the end, like I've stood at the bottom of a cathedral and looked up, and that's a really tall cathedral. It's a really weird shape.
The look of Gotham City is great in this film.
Yeah, I love it.
It's fantastic.
I love just the Batcave. It's just like great. I just love Bruce just sat at his screen.
Dressed as Steve Jobs.
We can talk about the Batsuit in this film. I think it is hysterical every time he has to full body turn to see anything.
He's like a dog, he can't look up.
Every time he looks up, it's just an absolutely perfect, hilarious shot. But every time we see Batman now, like sort of towards the end of the Nolan, and especially this new Pattinson one, they're like very armored, bulky, well-designed suits. This is literally just like a rubber bodysuit.
And it's about 3 inches thick on the mask.
And he is absolutely tanking bullets
Yeah,
and just sitting back up. And
Yeah,
I think there's something way more intimidating about like a skin-tight suit where Batman's just taking bullets, taking shots, and being like, still going.
In the superheroes today, like nobody acts like a human being. Like if you see a guy dressed as a bat, you're gonna have a bit of a reaction. Like Gordon's reaction, going, "Oh my god," and then like Nicholson being like, Jesus, like there's a 6-foot man in a bat suit in front of you. You're gonna be like, what the hell is going on? Like no one really like, if you watch like some of these like later movies, nobody like reacts to what's happening.
Nice outfit.
How do you guys feel about this like the classic trope of the rushed romance that after one date they're in love and she's getting shown the Batcave and
Haven't got time. Speed it up.
I think that is like the worst bit of pacing in this film, is that she's at a point where like he goes around to the apartment to tell her that she's Batman. She's like, I've been putting my all into this relationship, and you've been dodging my calls, and like I just don't think I can go through with this. And it's like, you like went out for your first date on Tuesday and now it's like Friday.
she did have a friend with her, didn't she? She had, Bill Murray was along for the ride,
hated
or
him.
some Bill Murray impressionist was along for the ride, trying
That's
to
interesting.
weasel his way in.
I'm just going to throw it out there. I don't think we saw him after he got hit by the thing, so maybe he did die.
He died, yeah. He did
Awesome.
die. He did
Now I
die.
love this film.
How peculiar that this guy Knox, the reporter, has got this Bill Murray vibe about him.
You've got a wonderful eye.
Yeah, some people think she has too.
And this voice said, Zool. And then I slammed the refrigerator door and I left. That was 2 days ago, and I haven't been back to my apartment.
Generally, you don't see that kind of behavior in a major appliance.
Is it deliberate? Because they wanted, apparently there's an early version, they wanted Bill Murray as Batman.
As Batman?
You are joking.
That's
I'd love that.
A number of filmmakers were attached to this script, including Ivan Reitman and Joe Dante. Reitman wanted to cast Bill Murray as Batman and Eddie Murphy as Robin.
Yeah, fuck it, why not?
I mean, you've got to remember, this is Burton, the same guy who, after doing the Batman films, was tasked with the Superman film and was like Nick Cage.
I have a bit of a problem with the idea of Joker being responsible for the death of Bruce Wayne's parents, because it's like, I get the idea that like Bruce does this to like avenge the death of his parents, but he never can, because maybe the guy that killed them, Joe Chill, got away with it, or he died, or whatever you want to do. And so he can never like chase that. He always keeps chasing it but can never get it. But because like Nicholson does it, and then he like avenges his parents,
He's lost a motivation, yeah.
like why does he keep going in this version? I'd query.
Because like he said, if he doesn't do it, who else will? Oh, anyone else, because he's just a man.
I do actually like that scene because it is like sort of hinting at that whole like Batman is a curse. It's like, no, like this is my destiny. I have to do this. I have to be Batman because no one else will be.
Yeah, like if he doesn't get nuts, Who else is gonna get it?
What is that scene? Like, why? Why does it happen?
Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
I think it's a moment for Keaton to be like, I'm face to face with Jack Nicholson. I've got to step up my crazy game. I've got to, but like, yeah, what is happening there? But it's also utter. It's just glorious, isn't it?
I love it.
It's glorious. My favourite scene is the party man scene.
It's all right.
It's just the Joker and his mates just ruining priceless works of art for just for whatever.
That is like the essence of this Joker can be explained in the party man scene. He pumps the room with knockout gas, doesn't steal anything from anyone, ignores everyone passed out, just paints on the art and leaves.
Same scene, the crux of that scene is in The Dark Knight where he just burns the money. It's just the Joker, just whatever. It's not important.
Sending a message.
And he may be a criminal, he may be a mad psychopath, but he's got a taste in music. And he likes Prince, and he wants to dance about with Lawrence, the boombox operator. I love he's got a boombox guy. He's playing music. So good.
And he had the best henchman death ever.
Okay guys, so we're going to come to that most important part of the video where we decide, is Batman timeless or trash? I'm going to go to Christian first.
This film isn't perfect by any means, but I think that's part of the reason why it's so good and so memorable. Is it is just like a weird experiment to how do we bring Batman forward from what he was in the 60s. Of course, Keaton does a great job, Nicholson does an exceptional job, so obviously this is getting timeless.
It's a tricky one, this. It is a tricky one, and I do think a lot of people's opinions are informed by their nostalgia rather than the actual quality of the film. Ben, case in point. But obviously Nicholson puts in probably one of his all-time most memorable performances, I'd say, and it's solid enough to be entertaining and for me to kind of not mind the thought of putting it on and enjoying it again. I can't really, like, in good graces give it trash, really, can I? So I'm gonna go for timeless for this one.
I would echo a lot of what Dan says, of like, I think this film is fine, like it's good, it's solid. It's not that there's anything really bad about this, but I just don't think there's anything really great about this at points. Like, I think like Nicholson's great, but it doesn't peak really for me. And I think I realised what it is. There's not really any great action set pieces. There's some great scenes, but the action just isn't there. But as Dan said, you can't call this film trash because it isn't, so obviously you call it timeless.
I think it's got some genuinely incredible scenes, like some really well shot, really well executed kind of moments peppered throughout, some genuinely iconic moments and scenes that have kind of gone and lasted through the decades. It is a bit clunky, we kind of suspected. I'm very curious to see what Returns kind of does and if it can kind of smooth out some of those edges. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's big nostalgia one for me. I'm never going to not say that it's timeless. So there we go, guys. We've officially decided that Batman is in fact timeless.
Life's been good to me.
Well, I don't know about you guys. We've looked at Batman, we've looked at superheroes. I think we should look at something completely different. Clip! Maybe. Clip!
We are going to die!
And with that one, guys, we shall see you next episode. Goodbye.